When we need help for a backup episode, it's Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. This episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Retro systems online. Reflux capacitor fluxing. Scanning through the space-time for Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue, 1990. Rewinding in 3, 2, 1.
Rewinders and new listeners to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. Don't worry, I'm not on speed or anything. I am your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the Master All-Star Interrupter Powers.
When your room looks kind of weird, you might be on drugs.
Hot dog! Also for this discussion of the film Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue, we welcome back aboard two awesome folks from the Cellcast. First, let's start with Jacob Heron from the Cellcast. Welcome, Jacob.
How everybody doing?
Pretty good, Scooby. Yeah. Also, from the Cellcast, we welcome back aboard ship's historian Drew Dodgen. Hey, Drew.
I had a voice and now I've lost it.
I heard obviously you, so from the silence.
You got to work with. Anyway,
glad you're so thrilled to be here, Drew.
I just didn't come up with a voice at the last minute. Unless you want me to pull in Swedish Chef, which is technically connected.
Now they have a not so quick flyby of who we are. Paul, can you give us a quick overview of production specs for Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue?
Okay, rescue. All right. Chippendale Rescue Rangers was released.
Seriously?
Yeah, May 16th, 2022. Runs an hour and 37 minutes.
Weren't in this, Paul.
Yeah. Wait.
This is in the same universe, as far as I'm concerned.
Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue is a video, like 30-minute video thing.
Oh, yeah, that cartoon special.
We're looking at the prequel to Rescue Rangers.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, called Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue. Was released April 21st, 1990, and it runs 32 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
It's not rated, but it was directed by a bunch of people, including Milton Gray, Marsh Lamore, Bob Shellhorn, Mike Savacco, and Karen Peterson supervising.
Why do you need so many directors for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Because there's a Saturday morning cartoons.
Exactly. You got a lot of cooks in the kitchen on this one. But it was only written by two people, and that would be Dwayne Poole and Tom Swale. The starring voice all-stars were Jim Cummings, Don Messick, Frank Welker, and so many more. The music was composed by Richard Kaczynski, Sam Winans, Paul Buckmaster, Bill Reichenbach, Bob Mann, Guy Moon, and legendary Alan Menken. You ready for the box office trivia?
Probably not, because this was video, so why would there be a box office?
You're right. Unfortunately, the budget for the Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue cannot be substantiated, since the precise records were not kept after Tannen shot a newspaper editor who printed an unfavorable story about him in 1884.
Hey, when that
I just assumed somebody was smoking something, and that's why they didn't keep records.
Well,
it was smoking. Everything would have smoked.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target video film.
Alert! Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue is the powerful story of a teenager dealing with drug and alcohol abuse.
Some of your favorite cartoon characters will help you understand how drugs and alcohol can ruin your life. So watch the program, talk about it with your family,
and make the right decision. Stay away from drugs and alcohol.
Watch Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue tomorrow morning.
During the middle of Sattercade Adventure.
That's right. Yeah, for those that don't know, we're going to do a PSA on this about not doing drugs. No, but wow, that commercial definitely brings back some memories, or does it, about Cartoon All-Stars. But to give you some context for the things we collectively remembered most before our rewatch, here is our memory mind meld synopsis for Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue. Some old fart and his wife tell me how special this special is about a preteen boy who starts to do drugs, then sells them. Every single Saturday morning, 1980s cartoon character comes out of the TV and dare him and Joe Pesci to stop making kids addicted to heroin. It isn't until his little sister joins forces with them and sings a song that the drug spell finally wears off. Say no to drugs, kid. Say no to drugs, kids. Yeah, that was pretty much decepted. No.
Only because you said Joe Pesci and not George C. Scott.
Yeah. Close.
You know what? Joe Pesci was in another one with Michael Jackson. Anyway.
Pee Wee Herman.
Based on those memories, as flawed as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film? I keep calling it a film, but it's not really whatever this video.
It's a short.
Shorts, yeah. Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Let's start with Jacob.
Oh, nostalgic.
Nostalgic. Paul?
I predicted nostalgic.
This. Come on, but you suggested this. It's got to be classic in your mind.
I predicted nostalgic.
Okay. How about you, Drew?
Considering that this was a PSA, even though it was going to be a big crossover, I assumed it was actually just going to be tragic. I also assumed this thing was going to be so tragic that it would actually bring all the built stars down with it. That's how tragic I thought it was going to be.
Wow.
Let's see. Dale thought nostalgic. Ashley thought nothing but nostalgic. And I would disagree with you guys because this is totally a tragic, just like Drew said.
What?
I predicted. I mean, I only vaguely remembered this. I don't know if I'd ever seen the whole thing or just clips. So as I was watching it, I was like, oh, I think I have seen this. But it's been forever, and I had no real desire. It wasn't like it was filled with cartoons I really wanted to see the characters of, like, you know, Akira, Cowboy
Hey, kids, remember Akira?
Where he blew up an entire city?
That'll make you want to do drugs.
Oh my goodness! But
actually, if you think about it, though, Akira is a good PSA for not doing drugs because look at all the drugs he did and look what it caused him to do.
Exactly.
True.
See? Oh my! That's a true PSA. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into the things we loved most about Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue. Let's spin up our best two, even though things going to say best three.
Best three.
And let's start with Jacob. What's one thing you liked about this short, this cartoon short?
Okay, so I remember watching this as a kid when I was very little back in I think when it came out in 1990. And to this day, my favorite scene in this entire movie is where Alf threatens to eat Garfield.
So great.
Wait, so I was looking for that, but why didn't he eat him?
Because they had to stop the money thief.
Because Alf and Garfield had more to do in this short. That's why.
Yes, exactly.
And Alf was just threatening him.
And plus, I don't think you get that
because Alf's alien race actually eats cats on Melnick.
Exactly. He had the perfect opportunity to... Never mind. I'm getting my dislikes. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, so you like that bit, some of the comedic element.
That was
of
clever.
It.
I enjoyed that as well.
And just the idea of Alf the alien meets Garfield. He's a cat. They interact, and it's a threat. I'm going to eat you if you don't come along with me.
Right.
It's absolutely just amazing.
Yeah. You know, I actually found the bits of that Garfield did as sort of the cleverest or the most interesting. I don't know if it's just his sarcasm or it was just like, I don't know, something about the comedy that Garfield brought to this, even though I wasn't really a fan of Garfield back in the day, the cartoon. I enjoyed that the most of all the comedic elements of
That's
this.
because you're an old curmudgeon and you enjoy old curmudgeon comedy.
Not only that, Lorenzo Music is the voice of Garfield, and Frank Welker should not have redone the role in the new shows.
Well, Lorenzo's
in,
dead.
I know that's the problem.
I thought Bill Murray was Garfield.
No,
that's in the movie.
That's in the movies.
Well, excuse me, guys.
And apparently, Bill Murray didn't know that was about the cat. He thought it was something about the President Garfield. But he accepted the role.
I wonder if he just says
something
that.
about that.
Wow. Well, let's go to Paul. What was acceptable about this short for you?
What I loved about this is seeing all these characters from their TV shows in their own model. It's not like everyone was trying to fit everybody else's style, or they didn't redo it to try to fit the latest style. They all looked like they're supposed to look, and that
it was so great seeing Leonardo and Donatello.
No, but I'm saying, like,
and Scrooge.
You don't see Michelangelo drawn like Alvin and the Chipmunks, or you don't see.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like they look like how they were supposed to look from their series, and I appreciate
absolutely.
that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious. Let's go to Drew next, and I don't know if you would speak to that in your but if you or Jacob have any wisdom as to how they're able to achieve all these characters looking like they belong together, yet they have such different styles.
Suspension of disbelief.
Wow.
It's probably because of the character model.
And besides, if they were off character model, we would notice it and would look worse.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But that wasn't my like.
They all have models they follow.
Yeah,
but I'm echoing what Jacob said.
My it worries me because I think Jacob or me are sharing a brain again, because I loved the scene where Alf threatened to eat Garfield.
Yes! Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because that made me laugh my head off. I had to pause the video. I thought they literally did this in a PSA about drugs. They actually went and played the obvious joke that they didn't have to.
Right.
And they did it. But yeah.
Now I've got an image of Alf has like a Garfield still sticking out of his mouth.
So murder is okay, but not drugs, kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just surprised it got by the censors, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
As censor heavy as this had to have been.
Let's see if you guys do share a brain, because now we're going to have Drew go first with his classic maker for Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue.
My classic maker for this is that this is essentially the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate of Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Amen to that, brother.
Because everyone, well, most everyone, is here.
True.
No, SWAT cats.
That's after this. Yes. That's after this.
Wait.
Batman didn't show up.
There was a Batman, but it would have been the Hanna-Barbera Batman. After this,
SWAT cats didn't come out till 1993.
I'm naming other ones if you pay attention, Paul. Other ones that would have been here.
Smash Brothers doesn't contain every video game character either. But at the same time, you got 30 minutes. They're already not to look forward to my dislikes, but they're already got too many characters in this thing to begin with. So, but the fact
Thundar the Barbarian.
Shush. But the fact that everyone is, all these characters are here from almost every memory from my Saturday morning cartoons. Mm-hmm. Well, pre my era, because I would have come in during the age of Batman and such. Mm-hmm. But these were all playing in reruns by this time. I love the fact that you've got all these characters. They didn't have to come together. I don't care that this is a PSA allowed him to do this. This had to be a Herculean effort just to get all these characters in the same room. In much the same way that, Roger Rabbit did with the Warner Brothers and the Disney characters. Now, they didn't have to go to the trouble of making sure that Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny had the same number of lines, since Mickey Mouse wasn't in this. But I just love that you've got all these characters who, a lot of them just show up, say their couple lines, and leave. Yeah. But it's like, this is like what goes on in the mind of a child during this time period. Because you think of all these characters, it is literally like someone picked up their toys and wrote of all these characters and made a show out of it. Yeah. And then somebody animated it.
Yeah.
Good. But I love that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's very imaginative and also combines all these characters together. That's awesome.
And it literally feels
Paul,
like I could see any of these characters in a story like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like
gotcha.
it's forced outside of standard PSA forcing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, what didn't you feel forced about in watching this?
One of the things that I loved is not only were all these characters back, but their original voices are back with
yes,
it.
That was awesome.
So many times they recast the voice of like, well, it's good enough. Well, now
make Garfield Bill Murray. Jeez.
Yeah, but all right, take it now. This was the first time that Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck was not voiced by Mel Blanc because he had died the previous year.
He had died during Jetsons the movie in the recording booth.
Right.
Yeah. So, they did the best they could. So minus that, they had the original voices, which I just so appreciate and don't understand why TV shows and movies do that. It's so annoying because to me, it's not the same character.
Yeah, unless the actor died,
right?
Which there have been times where that's happened. Like Troll Hunters is a classic example, or more a contemporary example of that happening. But other than that, just keep things consistent, please. I didn't realize that George C. Scott was the voice of this drug ghost guy and other things. That's amazing that he came back for this.
This was only one of 2 voiceover roles he ever did. And now...
Well, I didn't really actually know that. What was his other voice?
The one we covered is Rescuers Down Under. So now we've covered his...
That's what you want me to talk like this. His whole filmography.
Well, for voice acting, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, Jacob, did you hive mind with Drew, or did you have a different classic?
I have a different class maker. Now, this is the animation nerd, Disney nerd coming out in me. So during the end credits, and I sent him a screen caption of this. So it's going through the credits. Who wrote Wonderful Ways to Say No by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken.
Yes.
I went, what?
Yeah.
I literally stopped it, rewound it again to make sure I was correct. Because I'm thinking like, okay, they just came off The Little Mermaid, which was a big splash. Pun intended. And I was just like, oh my gosh. At the point, I think they had started working on Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
And they took their time to actually do a song for this little PSA. I'm like, boom, detonation. It was I was like everything else in this movie is great. That just blew my ever living mind.
Yeah, it's incredible that they got him to do that.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of representing all of the characters' voices in the singing of that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
for a bunch of Saturday morning cartoon characters who these guys probably had never seen before besides Winnie the Pooh.
That is true. Yeah. Also be like after watching it and like remembering the lyrics, I'm like, this sounds like Ashman. Like all the lyrics, because you listen to Little Mermaid, you listen to Beauty and the Beast. And it's just that very whimsical, very lighthearted.
Look at these drugs.
Way of using words,
aren't they? Wouldn't you think my drug collection?
Wouldn't you say I'm the addict who has all the drugs? Oh my word!
Look at these deals, treasures untold. Sorry.
So many crystals that I can behold.
You only thought that Ursula the Witch was just giving her legs. No, she was a much bigger dealer than that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, that leaves me for my classic maker. And
it's Disney, so you'll hate it.
Is this?
Well, this is actually Disney produced. Yeah, Disney produced it.
Yeah. Well, we're in classic makers now, so I had to pick something. And I did like that they had the original voices. I'm right there with you, Paul. That's just really awesome. I would say that's probably, I don't know if that's on par with getting all the rights to use all these different characters, but I feel like it's close to coordinate that scheduling as well.
It's important, Hollywood.
Yes. Now just work on your script some, and maybe we can have a banger here. But that's talking more to the dislikes. We're gonna But, there's something else I forgot. Is the Cellcast. The Cellcast hosted by Jacob and Drew. Wait, you're right here.
Strange enough.
Review animated movies and TV shows like Cartoon All-Stars The Rescue, discussing what they appreciate about the medium in whatever form it takes, whether it's traditional hand-drawn animated movies, claymation shorts, or 3D CG series. Check out some animated reviews when you subscribe to the Cellcast at thecellcast.podbean.com. And don't forget, Cell is spelled with a single L, and also Cell as in a C-E-L, not S-E-L-L, if that was ever confusing.
Oh, yeah.
As in celluloid, which is where the word is short for.
Yes. And you check all that out at thecellcast.podbean.com.
That's great, Francisco, and I truly do appreciate these fine fellows coming in along to help us review. But
absolutely,
what is the Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue? How is that alike for the Cellcast?
Because I'm sure you guys covered this, right?
Yes.
And so we can put people to your episode.
Not yet? Oh, I thought they did.
Oh. Well, then in that case, let me find someone else I liked.
Stunning and brave.
You know what else I liked is that they didn't cover it. They covered it with us.
Yes, that's true. Good point.
I was so excited when I heard this. Like, oh, yes.
All right. But, I'm going to let Paul do the trivia this time.
Oh.
So, Paul, take it away, please.
All right. Okay. Did you guys realize that Smurfette is seen on the VHS cover of this special? However, she does not appear anywhere in the special, yet Michelangelo appears in the special, but is not shown on the cover.
Ooh, interesting.
So a little switcheroo there. So if you could swap out one of any cartoon characters in the special, who would you remove and who would you replace them with? So let's go with Jacob.
Okay, easy. Let's remove the Muppet Babies.
Oh,
because when I was younger, I didn't like the Muppet Babies at all. I probably still don't like them.
You say I don't have a heart.
I'm just saying I'm surprised this isn't coming up in his dislikes. The fact that the Muppet Babies are even in this.
I wasn't.
I mean, it did come up in his dislikes for when we did Great Muppet Steak Manhattan. Kind of.
No, but I would remove those characters for instead of Optimus Prime or Lion-O.
Oh, nice.
That would be epic. Now, granted, putting Optimus Prime in a house would be interesting.
Yes. And come ride this roller coaster with us through your brain.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Go ahead, friend.
No. You're running the show. I forgot. So
no, I'm not.
Please continue.
All right, Drew, you're next.
Take out the Smurfs because they literally do very little in this movie, and you could easily change. You could literally have Alf realize that the piggy bank was stolen, and it would have done just the same amount of good as the Smurfs seeing it. And throw in Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh. Because who better to tell you how bad drugs are than the people trying to save the environment?
That makes sense.
Sure, but actually,
I can see that.
They didn't appear till later this 1990. When did this?
Oh, well, then if I have to pick somebody who was available at this time.
Yes, they came out like 6 months later. I will go with the cast of
Scooby-Doo, because how funny would it be to have Shaggy to tell people not to do marijuana?
Yeah, man.
You know, I was going to say, each of these cartoon characters was the star of their own show around this time. But Scooby-Doo was a little bit earlier, but that's too funny to pass up to have Shaggy.
I'm sure there was a Scooby-Doo spin-off show around this time, because they were making thousands of those.
That's true. I mean, Scrappy and all. Yeah.
Oh no, I changed my mind. I do not want Scrappy-Doo anywhere near this. We got too many annoying characters.
Like Zoinks, man. Don't do drugs, man. Like, seriously, man.
I mean, do we really need puppy power being added to this nonsense?
Absolutely.
No. Right.
Wow. All right, take us home, Francisco. Who would you choose?
So, and does this have to be ones that would have been available at the time?
Yeah, it has to be apparently pre-April of 1990.
Okay, then I would switch out the ghost drug guy character for D from Vampire D, and actually make it a PSA about not becoming a vampire.
somehow I don't think you can get the president to talk before that one.
No.
Do I need the president to talk about this to make it entertaining? No, I don't.
All right, but get another country involved. Sure.
Do you want to sell more toys or don't you?
I don't think the point of this was to sell toys.
I think it was to get kids off drugs.
I think that was the point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why they agreed to it.
Get them off they're trying to get them off the chemical drugs and get them on the plastic drugs.
Oh, you mean the ones filled with lead paint?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, for me, I know Alf. You had mentioned Alf the cartoon. It wasn't really known as a cartoon at that time, and I know a lot of people weren't. He wasn't that popular to be animated. So I would replace him with a more popular animated character. Like I know, like the Care Bears were popular at that time. Or if I couldn't figure out if he was supposed to be in the boys' room or the girls' room. But if it's boys' room, I was thinking, who came out earlier was The Simpsons. So have Bart Simpson in there, but I don't know if The Simpsons would be an anti-drug. I wonder how many characters they approach. They're like, I don't want to do anti-drug.
I'm actually surprised Care Bears or My Little Pony wasn't in this either.
Yeah.
I think My Little Pony was off air by this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because Gen 1
were these ones that were only on airs also?
Yeah, that would be why they wouldn't have included them here.
Yeah.
These were all the popular characters during the era.
Now, that being said, Rescue Rangers should be here technically.
Yeah, true.
Right. Who I
mean, the only reason Huey, Dewey, and Louie are there is because DuckTales.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What were we going to say, Paul?
I was going to say, how Bugs Bunny was this cop? I would have replaced him with the real cop from the future. Those cops, COPS.
RoboCop?
No, or that.
RoboCop would work.
RoboCop or from the...
But I know what you're talking about. Cops.
Seconds to comply.
I honestly thought McGruff was going to show up.
Oh, that would have been cool. Otherwise,
or Yogi Bear.
This may predate McGruff the Crime Hound.
Oh, well, he was in commercials, but he never had his own TV series, so I think that's why he wasn't in.
But if they could have, if this was made more in like the 2000s, they totally should have just put in South Park.
Sure.
You killed Kenny with drugs. Oh my gosh!
You know what would really work here? Mr. T and the T-Force.
Oh, yes. A people who does drugs. Yes.
Exactly.
All right, Francisco.
Yeah, thank you. Great trivia, Paul. Thank you so much for coming up with that. And we also have some people that had some memories from Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue. Paul, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Wardale White says Garfield being threatened by Alf, Bugs Bunny pretty much being somewhat the star of the show. Plus, it aired on all 4 networks.
Oh, it did?
At the simulcast, cool. The only time it ever happened.
Wow.
Well, it does contain characters from all 4 networks. So.
True.
Okay. Michael Kinzer says, I remember watching this all the time on VHS. I have been trying to find this, but could never remember what it was called. I'm guessing it'd be pure nostalgia for me if I were to rewatch it. Well, thank you guys.
You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Gazoon time. Thank you so much for sharing your memories. And it seems like there's nothing that no one likes about this, but I'm sure that we can find some things not to like about Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue. Let's get into our
worst 3
or worst 2 in this case. And I'll hold back a little bit. Let's start with Paul.
I just thought it was ridiculous, the parents' attitude of like, hey, there's a couple beers missing from our fridge. Oh, well. We have kids in the house.
And that's literally all they mention of alcohol.
Yeah.
No drugs, no nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
What a missed
despite the fact Barbara Bush brought it up so heavily in her intro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have like the wife like drying her with like bruising or like black eyes or something.
So wrong.
You probably didn't. You probably drunk it during your football game.
Oh, geez.
No, I'm just saying they could have had them drinking cans of beer while they were, during that spot where it's like, hey, we ought to get higher. Hey, I got your wallet. That part.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a good spot to see them tie in.
But the fact that they have kids in the house and they don't question the kids, hey, where's the missing beer? They're like, oh, well.
Yeah. I guess you drank it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that has nothing to do with something I just liked, but it was the character models for it was the dad and how he moved around, and on what was the son's name, Mike or
Michael,
Eric?
Mike.
Or Mike.
Because,
hey, Mikey.
Because Michelangelo was talking to Mike.
That's right. Right.
And hey, Mikey, he likes it.
Yeah.
Whenever
He likes his
they
drugs.
ran,
A little bit, maybe a little too much.
When he ran, or when the dad was moving around the garage, their buttocks look so like bulbous, and I don't know what was going on
offended
there.
by bulbous buttocks?
Apparently, Francisco doesn't like.
I'm not Sir Mix-a-Lot over here, okay? It just was
I
weird.
like bulbous butts, and I cannot lie.
Oh,
I don't know what to tell you. They
Nah.
looked like they were accentuating them while they were moving it. I don't understand why. I just don't get it.
I hate bulbous butts, and I don't know why.
We just stop it, Paul. Let's go to Jacob. What's something you did?
the scene where Mike and his sister are like arguing, like towards the end of the short, and they're watching it. It's like there are so many little animation errors there.
Yes.
It's just like you have the point where Mike pulls the canister holding his drugs away, and it's literally I think it's like 2 frames. They literally just skip 2 frames to make that a fluid motion, but it looks so tacky at that point. And the other one that bugged me was when Mike goes to threaten his sister. He swings. It'd be like his full arm swings, but then be like it's on the other side of him. So it's literally they do a skip frame, go right through his sister's character on the other side. It's like the character should have I'm not promoting this at all, but it felt like he was going to slap his sister.
Yeah.
He's like,
Give my drugs back.
Give my drugs back. Ah!
I'll pay the fool who take my drugs.
But it was just like, what in the world? I understand. If I remember correctly, they had 6 weeks. They had 6 weeks to do this.
Yes. And the average half-hour animated show takes 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So they were under the gun.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what? That's also my tragic makers, because here you have Disney, who's in
We're not on
charge.
tragic makers yet, but we can go for it.
I mean, can I at least do my dislike?
Yes, please.
Then we can get to tragic makers.
Please, sorry to interrupt. It was low hanging, and I thought I'd take a swing at the sister. But go ahead.
My apologies. My dislike is that the Muppet Babies segment doesn't include some random shot to stock footage like the TV show does.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
I'm not saying you go and pull out Indiana Jones roller coaster while you're doing it like Muppet Babies did all the stinking time, but something similar to that would be nice.
Yeah, even if it's just like a stock footage of something real, like the brain or something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons
something to fit the motif of the show that we're obviously emulating at this one point.
Yeah. And they could have saved on frames and backgrounds.
Exactly. I mean, it's cheaper. Come on, Disney. Pay attention to your source material.
Before we get to tragic makers, Dale says, Mikey, talking about Michelangelo, I believe, didn't sound like Mikey. There was no fun. I know we're dealing with a serious topic, but I would have appreciated a little more funness to that character. Like, whoa, man, only do drugs when it's fun. No, I don't know what Mikey would have said. Oh, no, something like, why would you do drugs? It harshes the taste of pizza, yo. Here's a slice. Something like that.
Well, a lot of his lines just seemed odd anyway, even for the way you expect him to sound. But
where are your rest of your turtle buds?
Right.
How did Mikey lose his sarcasm bone? That's what I want to know.
Good point. But Paul, why don't you tell us? Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Tragic maker.
All right.
Fire.
So basically, I'm agreeing with Jacob. Here you have Disney, who has, like he said, their best musical people working on this. But there are so many animation flaws in here. I mean, they recycled some scenes of animations like close-ups, and even another example is like when the cop shadows on the wall. It's kind of wonky at points, and it's just it's not the best. And it's like, here's Disney's chance to put their best foot forward, and they don't.
Do you think that was intentional?
Yes, because they're trying to get kids to like drugs. No, I don't know what you. Well, yes,
that sounds like Disney.
No,
that sounds like
it's
Disney.
intentional to save money, which sounds like Disney.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
their normal
true.
Their normal Saturday morning cartoons, I think, were a little bit better, but it could have been done better.
That's fair. I was going to ask you a question revolving around that, but I totally lost it. So we'll move on to Drew. What was your tragic maker for Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue?
While this does have a ton of characters in it that I absolutely do love that, the fact of the matter is over half of them have no meaningful part in this crossover. In the story, I mean, the Smurfs literally leave the scene at like right after the girl wakes up. Slimer doesn't show up after his 1 minute of screen time. Bugs, while he is in a lot of these scenes, he's missing from like half of the short and just shows up when it's time for his lines. The Chipmunks are only really there for the one song that they sang. They don't really fit into much of the rest of the story.
Well, they were up in a balloon ride. Drew.
Oh gosh,
they took a moment from their race from the Chipettes.
Is that what it was? Thank goodness the Chipettes weren't here. I'm just going to say that right now.
Wow, no puppy power and no Chipettes. All right,
I'm sorry. While I like cute things, the cute things must have purpose.
All right, fair.
And Scrappy Doo has no purpose. But I mean, if you're gonna have all of these characters in there, you need them there for more than just 2 seconds to say, "Oh, this character was in here." You should be. If you can't give all these characters a meaningful part in this 30-minute television episode, basically,
minutes. Yeah.
I mean, either A, make it longer, or B, slim your cast.
Don't slim the
Can
cast.
you guys think of another example? It doesn't necessarily have to be a crossover, but of a cartoon that actually did a good job of giving meaningful parts to, let's say, within its own universe, its host of characters. Let's say
Justice League Season 2.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but okay, sure.
Justice League Unlimited also.
Yeah.
Is that contemporary with this, or is that more recent?
It's more recent.
Okay.
At this time,
no, Leonis.
This was the first of its kind, so
yeah. I mean, this is the first time really anything like this had been done.
I mean, with this many characters in a half-hour show, I don't remember shows back then having that many characters.
And it would be one thing if all of the characters showing up, or if like the characters that they're using as side characters in this were side characters in their own show, so you don't expect them to be major parts of the story. But every single character in this is the protagonist of their story. They're the people. Their source material is based on. So when you see them like only have a couple lines and just have a bit part, it's very disappointing.
And you know what, Drew? That leads me into my tragic maker that I just came up with right now.
I'm sure.
I think it's really perfect. No, I did really, because I think it would have been so much more amazing if all the bad guys were helping the drug guy. Like we have Shredder and Flintheart Glomgold. And
dude, you just need Shredder being the main villain and having the Foot Clan trying to sell drugs to kids.
Well, you could do that too.
It's the perfect setup and give you an excuse to have more than just Mikey there.
True.
Exactly. And also, what's Opie? Oh yeah, the dog Opie. He's the real brains of the operation.
Odie?
You just don't think so.
You mean Odie?
Whatever's the dog from Garfield.
Opie is from Andy Griffith's show, who would later go on to be a big director.
He made a splash of things, you could say.
Wonk.
You're willowing away my heart, Paul. Anyway, let's Apollo 13 out of here.
Houston, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Don't make me go solo, guys. Anyway.
Nice.
Francisco, you can always be my wingman.
He didn't direct Top Gun.
No, I just quoting random lines. I thought that's what we were doing.
No, we were doing Ron Howard.
He was listening to all Ron Howard movies.
Wah, 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 wah.
I think
was.
Yeah.
Drew, Why don't you close this out? What was the thing you hated most about?
I already said what I
All-Stars?
hated most.
Not true. I'm sorry, Jacob.
So the main thing I really took away that I didn't like about this film, it's the way this movie's been, this special's been treated overall, like throughout the history. So it came out in 1990. It was released once on VHS.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it was never released. It was never re-released.
Yeah.
It's basically been abandoned by all parties whatsoever.
Right.
And the only way you can buy it on eBay or Amazon for like $40-$50. And you can't stream it anywhere except, other places illegally.
Right.
And
is it illegal?
A shame.
That is the debate, but the reason they haven't re-released this, I personally think, has got to be licensing issues.
Oh yeah,
because I'm sure they were just thinking like next couple years we'll do this quick thing to get this out for put it on TV here in 1990, and then we'll do a VHS, and then we'll never think about it again. And because they figured, who's going to want this in the year 2022?
Yeah.
Why would we want to put this on
legalized
Blu-ray?
by then? Why would we do this? Yeah, no, I get that.
Surely no one's going to do a podcast about this.
No, of course not.
Not like these drugs are all going to be legal by then.
Yes.
But that's totally fair. So it's that you can't really get it anywhere, or
not
that was
officially.
abandoned essentially.
Yeah, not officially. You can't get it anywhere. The only availability you have it if you buy the original release from 1990 on Amazon or eBay or whatever, secondhand or whatever.
Which does technically make it easier to get a hold of than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Black market.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, Alice, you have a firing solution for us.
Maybe.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
All right, guys. Do we rate Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue a classic? We recommend anyone go see this again. Go see this, whether or not they've seen it before. And nostalgic, it's worth revisiting if you saw it as a kid back in the 90s and you're like, yeah, it's worth rewatching again, popping in your VHS player that you still have, right? Right?
I still have one.
Okay, then I'm talking to you, Drew.
And only
But
you.
if you've never seen it before, just pass on by. Or do we rate it tragic? It's not worth anyone's time to get today. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any positive memories you have with a rewatch. Let's begin with Drew. What is your final rating for this video short?
I have a rule when it comes to bad movies and TV shows and such, that if you can't be good, at least be interesting.
Okay.
This is interesting, and ironically, I also think it's good.
But I hear a but coming.
It is cheesy, admittedly, but it is cheesy in a way I expect from Saturday morning cartoons, and I think it fits so well in there. I would actually call this the epitome of the Saturday morning cartoon experience. So for me, this movie is a classic.
There we go. There we go.
Wow, you went you went from tragic prediction to classic.
Nice.
Yes. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's what happens when you go in with low expectations.
I suppose
that's true. But I agree with that assessment. This is an epitome of the Saturday morning cartoons at that time. Yeah.
So would you also rate it classic then, Paul?
No, actually, I would rate it nostalgic.
Nostalgic,
because I enjoyed it watching it before when it aired, and I've seen it a few times since. And this is a blast from the past. It brings up so many nostalgic feelings because I was familiar with the characters but if you've never seen this and you're not familiar with the characters, like I think the newer generations aren't, I wouldn't think it would. I wouldn't say you have to see this. Even if you're battling drugs, you wouldn't have to see this. But for the people that did enjoy it or want a blast from the past, I would recommend it. So nostalgic for my rating.
This is what rehab centers use. They just put this
on a rehab replay.
What are they trying to get away from? How is this effective towards what?
I don't know. As much as I love this, I'm afraid if you watch this on drugs, it might enhance the experience.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jacob next. You had a predicted nostalgic.
Yes.
What was your final rating?
My final rating is definitely follow Drew's example of being a classic.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
Thank you very much. I'm here all night.
I think I need to look under your beds. I think that's what I need to do right now. Make sure there's no like tin boxes
I think you're looking for
under
monsters.
there.
Okay.
If you go under my bed, good luck, because my bed's literally sitting on the floor.
So I need to go, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and then go under your bed.
Yes, because that's what you use high-powered lasers for, to shrink you down so you get to your hidden drug cache.
Yeah. You jump in the Muppet Babies roller coaster and you go down under there.
By the way, that looks like a fun ride. How is that supposed to get people not to want to do
I didn't understand what that was supposed to be telling me anyway, so...
Oh my gosh.
But that's just par for the course with Muppet Babies.
That is true.
I suppose that's fair.
So yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no. I was just gonna read from chat.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So being someone, if you're a child from, you're in your 30s and 40s now, be like looking back at this and be like, man, this is amazing. Or it's like, oh, those were my favorite characters growing up. Or if you do now, if you have like a young child from this current generation or earlier, be like, you're looking at it's like, I recognize most of these characters. I love these characters. I want to get to know this story a little bit more. And hey, I might learn more about, what it was like they're trying to prevent people from not doing.
Okay.
And I thought it was if you look at it now, be like, this spans generations. Be like, yeah, the character designs are different, but like 99% of the characters, kids are going to know.
I'd be interested to have someone remake this on YouTube using character designs from current iterations. It's the same story and everything, even same voices, but they use the current design. So you have like maybe 2012 Turtles, you have Bill Murray Garfield, you have the current Disney Channel DuckTales, you have the CG Muppet Babies, you have the CG. Lots of CG.
I'm afraid that would look even stranger.
Yeah,
than current.
That would.
I know, but I think that'd just be interesting to see.
But then
we're on drugs,
then Rescue Rangers pulled it off. So what am I talking about?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Pulled it off already.
I mean, they had Ugly Sonic in there, for crying out loud. Even the real Sonic the Hedgehog movie couldn't put Ugly Sonic in it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, before we get to my rating from chat, we have Dale says, I said rate nostalgic. Baba also nostalgic. Ashley said, haven't seen it again. I'd go with nostalgically tragic. Oh, so tragic. Okay. And I think that may have been all of them. Yes, crack is whack, Paul. Thank you for chiming in there. But for me, I'm not high on my own supply here, guys. I rated it tragic. There's so much in this. I think there's tons of potential in this. I just don't feel like, and you guys tell me, which I didn't realize, that they only took 6 weeks to make this when most animated cartoons of the time took 12 weeks. I feel like there just wasn't really care. And other than the song, I thought that was catchy. That had an element of pizzazz to it. But it's almost like, oh, we have all these cartoon heroes together, but it sort of just is a nothing burger. It's just like, yeah, see these guys that you could see in funner stories, more interesting stories elsewhere. And they didn't do anything interesting with having them really come together. And it didn't really make sense why the Smurfs are coming out of comic book. Mikey's coming out of the sewer. It's like they're all coming from different places.
Technicolor sewage.
True.
But I feel like they should have been like, if they're going to do it like some toy, they should do it like Toy Story. It's the toys that are doing it coming to life or something. Have to be consistent in like how all these cartoons come into existence around Mike and his sister, that they're all coming from different places. Like Garfield's a lamp and now he's alive. It just, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know why they didn't just make him a phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's tech. Or why didn't they just gag and kidnap the brother and take him downtown to Toontown like they used to do in the good days?
Yeah, that works too. Yes, rough him up a little bit on the in the dip, and then go.
Like good tune, bad tune.
Yeah, exactly.
Precisely.
So yes, we are agreeing, Ashley. But with two classics, a nostalgic and a tragic, I think that sort of that according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate this. Thanks a lot, Cellcast. A disputed classic short.
Even Bentley agrees.
Recommend anyone go see this, I suppose, whether or not you've seen it before.
It's called just watching it for fun.
Exactly.
Now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX where things make sense, except they don't.
Sense? What's that?
Sat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 2001? 1990 to begin with, if it weren't for our amazing reflex capacitors, namely Deborah Powers, Geek Devotions, Drew of the Cellcast. Oh, you're right here.
Hey!
Ashley Ruiz, Kennethan, Fabulous Lomax, That's Our Babo, D. Tungsten, Daryl Hafner, Cool Deluxe, Dustin, He's a Big Deal Warford, Flux, Redeemed Otaku, in addition to two other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity or buy some of our merch, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to start. This stream is sponsored by pauljpowers.com. And while we're thanking people, I'm doing the Paul part now, don't you know? We also want to give a big all-star hug to Drew and Jacob. Thank you so much for supporting us with your thoughts on Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue tonight. And since I'm playing the part of Paul, I like to do things alphabetically, which means Jacob. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you online, and do you have anything awesome going on?
Well, I have Facebook. There's Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I draw every day. At least I try to. I'm trying to get a Patreon started where I can do and get more people to support me artistically. I have a girlfriend now. Yay!
Sweet.
Other than that, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Either at Jacob B. Heron or Jacob Heron.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's very unoriginal with his naming.
Yeah, I'm not.
Very cool. And how about you, Drew?
Well, I do. You can go check out my Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, where I post pictures of things I like to take photos of, and
nice.
Of course, you can also check out our entire podcast, the Cellcast, at thecellcast.podbean.com, where we review movies and TV shows now in the same episodes, and we have a good time over there. And then I almost guarantee by the time you hear this, I will have actually released a couple episodes of my new project where I am going through all of Kingdom Hearts, commentating and analyzing it as part of the Cellcast podcast called Untangling Kingdom Hearts. So keep an eye out for that. It should be in the same RSS feed as the podcast.
Oh, awesome. As the Cellcast
podcast, which can be found on your favorite podcast catcher. Probably the same one you're listening to this podcast on.
Whoa, synergy. Well, thank you again so much, Drew and Jacob, for being on the show. And thank you so much to my awesome all-star Exo Paul and all you rewinders, new and old, for another fun voyage.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Sorry.
He's just to the left of you on the screen, Paul.
Oh, there you are. Did you play?
This stream is sponsored by pauljpowers.com.
I did my own awesome.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you. You can find me. You thanked me, so you're welcome. There you go. You can find me at pauljpowers.com. How about that?
That sounds good, Paul.
All right.
And you can find me on Discord for show announcements. By the time you're listening to this, I may be tiptoeing back into some of social media. We're still seeing about that. But for now, you could probably still see me. Find me on Discord for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
Tiptoe.
Right. This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
I feel like I've heard that before. Sounds familiar.
What?
Yeah, and as Nathan just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. You can find all our shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media.
Thank you, Exo, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for the next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
I think I've listened to you long enough.
Can't get rid of me this easy. I'll be back, and you can bet on it.
He's right, you know.